Shalom, brother and sister truth seekers. I want to give you a quick update on this other experiment I'm trying this year to confirm the Equinox event. I'll be using the boards like I always do, and I recommend painting them white so you can make those shadows pop in the early morning and late evening. But this has been an interesting experiment. I've been trying it for years, well, years ago, but I haven't really been able to repeat it for the past 4 or 5 years because I've been moving and I just haven't been able to do it. But it's kind of cool because if you can find a spot, a nice stationary solid spot to set a camera on and like take a picture of the sun as it moves across the sky during the day, um, you can create the same kind of pattern that you would see on your sundial board. I think. Again, I'm gonna do it with the boards anyway, but I've been experimenting with this, and it's interesting. You can still see kind of a slight curve here. Like, so I drew a straight line from the first point to the last point, and the midpoint is off the line. It's above the line. That's kind of the rainbow pattern. I'm looking, where am I looking? I think I'm looking south when I take these pictures. So the sun is still kind of below me. I live in West Virginia, United States. And so this is the pattern you would expect to see. Like the sun is kind of hooking like a bow right now. Um, and eventually it's going to be like right on this line. Like the midday point is going to be bisected by the line. And I think I can see that. I think that's what I saw last year, or in past years when I do this. Like, it'll either be on there or it'll clearly have flipped to the other side, so it'll be a smiley face pattern. But then the neat thing about this is if you're living in a place where you don't have a lot of sunlight, like in the early morning and late evening, this almost seems like a possible little bit of a helpful cheat, sort of, because what you're looking at here is only 2 hours of data around midday. I think the first one's taken around noon, and the last one might be taken around like 2. And so and the sun moves the least during that time of day, but there's something about me looking right at the sun with my camera that really seems to exaggerate these movements. Um, like, if any of you have collected data on a sundial board, you'll know, and you really want a full day of data. You want your first point of the day to be as early as possible and your last point of the day to be as late as possible. And I mean, really, I think what it is you want like 10 and a half hours of data, from 10 and a half hours from your first point to your last point of the day. Otherwise, it can look like you have a straight line, possibly a day before or a day after the actual straight line event, just because it's the early morning and late evening where that shadow and the sun seems to hook the most, like the bow, the rainbow that I was talking about, and the smiley face I was talking about. So, but with this is neat because, like I said, I think I tested it last fall, and it's pretty clear that the sun is above the line for the days leading up to the equinox, and then either on or the day after, it's just clearly below, and it's a dramatic flip. So I'll be keeping an eye on this as a second way to confirm, uh, to see if it matches the boards this year. But I recommend maybe other people, if they're interested, would try this too, because I hear a lot of people say, oh, I don't have enough sunlight to get those early morning marks or those late evening marks. And I mean, this is a really small spread of data that I'm taking here. Like, if you find a spot to put your camera where and you just take more pictures, like maybe from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. once every hour or something, And really you only need 1 point at the beginning and 1 point at the end, and then 1 point in the middle. You need 3 points. So wherever your first point of the day, last point of the day, you need one right in the middle. You don't need one every single hour, but whatever you're able to collect, that's what's most important, from your first to your last to the one that's in the middle. um so I mean, but if you're able to like take a picture at like 10, and then one at like noon, and then one at 2, or if you're able to get more than 2 hours, I think you're going to see this pattern dramatically pops. Like, you're going to be able to see so much more movement than I have captured here, which is 2 hours. The place I picked to mount my camera to is like on my barn, in like the hayloft. Like, I tried to pick a spot that was like out of the way of cats, kids, and all this stuff. Um, but really, I mean, you could do this with almost anything if you have a nice solid something. Maybe your porch, or maybe you've got some kind of rock or something. But it has to be stationary. It can't move. You have to put your camera, like, literally, you have to find something that has like two edges. Like, I've got two boards that I just slide my camera up against so it holds it tight, like to one edge, and I just lay it down in that exact spot, and I snap these pictures once every hour, and then I pull them into Excel, and I just stack these pictures. So these are just, and what I do is I pull them in all the same size, and I throw them up into the upper left corner, so they're all justified to this edge and this edge. So this is a picture, this is a picture, but they're all taken from the same exact spot, the same exact position, the same exact orientation, and I just overlay them here in Excel, just again as a kind of a second experiment. But I think it's pretty cool, and it just might come in handy for someone who doesn't have those early morning and late evening shadows. And like 2 hours of data, even with 2 hours of data, I'm pretty sure I was still seeing it. It's pretty dramatic. Like, you'll see it above, and then all of a sudden it'll be below. But I imagine if you had 4 to 6 hours of data doing this, you would see so much more of an obvious curve. Um, so if you want to hear more about this or give it a try, please reach out, send me a comment, or if you want to send me an email, a voiceoftruthandlove@gmail.com, and I can tell you more. But I think I went to Lowe's to get welding shields, and I think I got the two most intense welding shields. I don't know, they kind of look like glass